Welcome to Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show. This time we're taking a look at Audi's most powerful hot hatch ever, the exclusive new RS3 Performance Edition.
Plus, we run down the UK's best-selling cars of 2022, and the new BMW X4 takes on Merc's GLC.
We'll also check out the latest big pickup truck from America, the GMC Sierra. Plus, the sophisticated Volvo C40 Recharge takes on Audi's smallest electric SUV. That's all coming up. First though, the news.
Nissan has topped the charts with the release of 2022's UK sales figures. The Qashqai was the top-selling car in Britain last year with over 42,000 units registered, beating the second-place Vauxhall Corsa by nearly 7,000 cars. The final step on the podium went to Tesla's Model Y, the only EV in the top 10, closely followed by the Ford Puma and the Mini. Of the top 10 selling cars, 6 were crossovers or SUVs, and the remaining 4 were all hatchbacks, with the Volkswagen Golf and the Ford Fiesta in 8th and 10th place respectively. An honourable mention goes out to Rolls-Royce. Despite unsurprisingly having no cars anywhere near the top 10, the luxury British brand had its most successful year on record thanks to the continued popularity of the Cullinan and the new Ghost. Overall, 1.6 million new cars hit British roads in 2022, making it the worst year for new registrations in 30 years due to the ongoing parts supply issues and an unsteady economy. 2022 was, however, a landmark year of electric cars, with sales up by 40% on 2021, with a 17% market share, more than diesels. Petrol still lead the way, with industry trade body SMMT claiming charging anxiety is the biggest obstacle for electric cars to overcome.
The new year brings with it the latest model updates from the American manufacturers, a tradition that stretches back decades, and this is one from the latest crop, the 2024 GMC Sierra. Priced from $45,000, the latest model gets a fresh new look thanks to an updated front end and new front and rear lights. It's certainly an imposing vehicle, especially if you go for the bigger dually version designed specifically with towing in mind. There are some new trim levels to choose from, with high-spec versions now more luxurious than ever, putting it right up there with the Ram 1500. Most versions come with an old-school bench seat up front, but higher models get 2 individual seats with a centre console, while other options include a heads-up display, heated steering wheel and wireless phone charger. For real Cadillac levels of comfort though, you want the Denali Ultimate model. This comes with just about all the optional kit as standard, along with some fancy wood dash inserts, leather seats and even a suede headliner. The key updates though are to be found under the bonnet. The range of engines has stayed largely the same, but the engines themselves have been upgraded and retuned. GM's famed 6.6 litre Duramax diesel V8 has been upped to 470 horsepower and almost 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. The headline figure though is the Sierra 2500 HD's towing capacity. While European trucks generally manage around 3.5 tonnes, the Sierra can tow more than 10 tonnes on the hitch. There's some new tech to make hauling a trailer easier too. The adaptive cruise control can now be operated while towing, and the truck can warn you if your payload is overweight. The handy transparent trailer view system is now compatible with gooseneck and fifth wheel trailering, while the bigger 3500 can now tow up to 16 tonnes. The key addition to the range, though, is the new electric model. Due for release later this year, will bring you up to speed on the latest electric pickup in the coming weeks.
Are you concerned that there simply aren't enough coupe SUVs on the market in 2023? Well, worry not. BMW is back with a new X4, the svelte and stylish low-roofed version of the X3. Continuing the trend of recent BMW designs, the X4 has gotten much chunkier. The front end has a larger kidney grille and thinner headlights. Perhaps not one of the all-time great BMW designs, but we'll leave you to decide if it looks better than the X3. Following the coupe silhouette along the side of the car will reveal a rear end with the same issue as the front. Being so big, it's hard to adapt the smaller 4 Series styling cues to the SUV. That being said, it definitely looks more up-to-date than the previous iteration of the car. The flowing ducktail spoiler and thin taillights would make for a good-looking car if it were carrying a bit less blubber. Inside, it looks like pretty much anything else from the current BMW lineup, and that's certainly no bad thing. More conservative than an equivalent Mercedes, its classic proportions and quality materials will appeal to any serial BMW owner. The start-stop button and gear selector have been moved around, improving ergonomics, while the 4 Series has lent its new vents. The large 12.3-inch touchscreen is hard to miss on centre stage of the dashboard. Replacing the old instrument cluster is yet another large digital screen. As BMW develops it, the infotainment system will be upgraded with over-the-air updates. In the UK, you're limited to a mild hybrid diesel with either 187 or 282 brake horsepower. But for those that want to go fast, there is always this, the X4M Competition. It's powered by the same 503 brake horsepower straight 6 as the old car, but it produces more torque. Remarkably, that's enough to get the X4M from 0 to 62 in just 3.8 seconds. However, this coupe SUV market is getting rather crowded, and as such, the X4 has some stiff competition to contend with, namely the Mercedes GLC Coupe and the Audi Q5 Sportback.
With a larger boot, fuel tank and second-row headroom, the BMW claims the lead as the more practical of the 3 offerings. However, it is difficult to look past the X4's styling, especially when the Mercedes GLC Coupe, does a much better job at making an SUV look like a sleek saloon. The GLC, though, loses out on interior styling. It's soon to be replaced, and as such, the cabin looks decidedly last-gen compared with the classy X4 cabin, and especially when compared to Merc's latest EVs. The Audi, meanwhile, lacks a certain styling panache you get with the X4, although the interior is practical and beautifully made. There are plenty of engine options though, and it's decent value too, with prices starting at under 48 grand.
If you ask us, we prefer the regular big-booted versions of these cars, but if you simply must have a high-riding coupe, it's the BMW or Audi for us.
Join us again after the break as Audi's hottest hatch yet takes on the Volkswagen Golf R.
Coming up, 2 new special edition hyper hatches, but first...
Recently, Volvo proudly announced that by 2030, all of its models would be electric. It also said it was targeting 50% EV sales by 2025, an ambitious target as at the time, Volvo didn't even have an electric car in its lineup. Polestars aside then, Volvo has finally put its money where its mouth is and brought us this, its first standalone EV, the C40 Recharge. We like the electric version of the XC40, and the new coupe SUV C40 carries much of the same hardware. So what is the C40 like? Well, the first thing you need to know is it is surprisingly fast. Opt for the top-spec twin-motor model and you get an electric motor on each axle, providing an ample 402 bhp, enough to get the stylish Tesla rival from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds. The range is decent too, 277 miles, which is about right in this class. If performance isn't a priority, you can also get a 228 brake horsepower single motor, which drives the front wheels only. The range takes a minor hit, but it is quicker to charge from a home charger. We'll leave you to make up your own minds about the styling. We don't dislike it, we just happen to prefer the more practical XC40. Inside, you are treated to a veritable feast of the zeitgeist's buzzwords. There are some 3D printed dashboard panels, vegan upholstery, and an Android infotainment system that incorporates Google Maps. Unfortunately, it doesn't support Apple CarPlay. Disappointing for a car that starts at more than £48,000. Overall, though, it is an impressive car and certainly something a little bit different from Volvo's usual fare.
However, in this increasingly popular corner of the market, the Volvo has some competition. This is the Audi Q4 e-tron, and to the untrained eye, it isn't obviously an electric car. It all looks fairly conventional, and there's even what appears to be a big grille at the front. In true Audi fashion, it gets some very swanky LED lights, including a full-width light bar at the rear. 19-inch alloys come as standard with optional 20s and 21s, which make it look a bit meaner. It's a chunky looking car with a low roofline, but for style-conscious buyers, there's also a coupe version called the Q4 Sportback. This sacrifices some practicality in the name of looking good, with a tapered roofline creating a rakish, sporty silhouette. Inside, the Q4 gets a modern driver-centric layout with a big infotainment screen and controls angled towards the driving seat. The drive selector sits on a floating panel, giving you some extra space below it. There are 3 different powertrain options to choose from. The entry-level 35 model gets a 52 kilowatt-hour battery, 168 brake horsepower and a 208-mile range. Next up is the 40. It costs a few grand more but gets a bigger 77 kWh battery, 201 brake horsepower and a much improved range of 316 miles. This middle-of-the-range model is the one to go for if you want maximum mileage from your Q4. If you're more interested in performance though, the top spec 50 uses the same battery, but power is increased to 296 brake horsepower. The range drops to just below 300 miles, but it'll hit 62 from rest in 6.2 seconds. That isn't exactly rapid in the world of EVs, but it's quick enough in a family SUV.
The Audi offers more choice than the Volvo then, as well as a better range in top-spec cars. Crucially though, the Q4 is cheaper, But if Volvo's first pure EV is anything to go by, we can expect an interesting EV lineup by 2030.
It's no secret we love hot hatchbacks here at Auto Mundial. Practical performance in an affordable package will always be appealing. But what if you're willing to spend thoroughbred sports car money on your fast family hatch? Well, this could be the answer. The latest Audi RS3. The old model was never the most dynamically rewarding car in its class, and despite its bigger engine, it wasn't actually that much quicker than the cheaper S3. But the incredible 5-cylinder motor, the noise it made, and the fact that buyers had to really appreciate it for what it was, made it a real favourite among those of us who look for more in a car than just performance figures and statistics. So, can the new one capture the hearts of petrolheads in the same way? And is it finally capable enough to defeat the mighty Mercedes A45? Well, first off, it looks the part on the outside. Swollen arches, wide wheels and big exhausts are always going to impress. But how about inside the cabin? Well, obviously it's based on the A3, so it gets the familiar tech-filled dashboard that we're big fans of. But the RS details are easy to spot. All good news so far then, but what really matters is what's under the bonnet. And we're thrilled to report that the wonderful 2.5-litre 5-pot motor remains. Power remains the same, with 395 brake horsepower being sent to all four wheels, but the 0 to 62 time has dropped from 4.1 to 3.8 seconds. If that still isn't fast enough for you though, you'll need to be quick to get your hands on one of these, the new RS3 Performance Edition. Only 300 are to be made, and few, if any, will make it to the UK. Turbo boost pressure has been increased, which has taken the power output up to 401 brake horsepower. The torque figure is unchanged, but there's more of it in more of the rev range. Although the 3.8 seconds 0 to 62 time remains the same. Top speed has increased though, with the RS3 now able to hit the mighty 186 miles per hour, aka the magic 300 km/h mark. The performance gains may be marginal then, but there are some smart details unique to the Performance Edition. The standard car's already impressive cabin has been enhanced further with a pair of beautiful carbon-backed bucket seats. Outside the car, the LED headlights have been smoked, while the daytime running lights spell out 300 when you unlock it, in reference to its top speed.
This isn't the only hyperhatch though to receive some new special edition treatment. 2022 marked 2 decades of Volkswagen's R cars, and so late last year the Wolfsburg brand revealed the Mark 8 Golf R 20 years, a celebration of fast 4-wheel drive Golfs. Marking it out from a standard car are some new anniversary badges and puddle lamps, and some optional blue accents on the wheels. The interior is similarly restrained with just some extra carbon fibre and more blue bits reminding you that you're in a special Golf R. However, this is more than just a trim pack. The 20 years edition boasts an extra 13 brake horsepower over the standard car, and new mapping for the engine and gearbox for more immediate response and punchier gear shifts. 0 to 62 has dropped to 4.6 seconds, making the most powerful Golf ever built the quickest VW you can currently buy. It's so quick in fact that the Golf R20 years just did a Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes and 47 seconds. That's 4 seconds faster than the standard model. All of this performance does come at a cost though. At more than £48,000, this is one very expensive Golf, particularly when the standard R is very nearly as quick for £5 less.
It isn't as quick, but the VW is still a very fast hatchback, and the 20 years edition is likely to be much easier to acquire than the low production RS3. The Audi though is surely the ultimate hot hatch right now. Near supercar levels of performance and exclusivity with enough space for your dog.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we examine BMW's fabulous iVision D, a new electric concept car with some retro design flair and some tricks up its sleeve. Don't miss it.